Scholars observe that up until the 4th century, Christianity did not favor visions of God. But a peculiar development soon took place. Through fasting and prayer and other ascetic practices, anyone could cultivate dreams and stimulate visions. On the other hand, official dream interpreters were forbidden. Such were banned from baptism in the early church. Consideration of interpreting the meanings of dreams and visions has fascinating implications as to the creation of the canon, or the official list of scriptures that make up our Bible. Of various criteria listed for determining which writings were to be included in the canon and which were to be excluded, curiously, inspiration is omitted. The reason, apparently, is that since all the earliest followers of Jesus were filled with the Spirit, meaning very familiar with altered states of consciousness experiences, any claim of inspiration would not have been very useful as a way of distinguishing canonical from extra-canonical Christian writings. In both Paul's writings, as in the 4th Gospel, Jesus himself is the revelation of God. The experience of Jesus raised by God was a crucial event for Jesus' followers in the post-apostolic generations. When the risen Jesus appears, he is generally not immediately recognized. This is normal in descriptions of alternate reality. Interactions with the risen Jesus, as described in various early Jesus groups, can best be explained in terms of experiences generally unavailable to human perception in a culture such as ours. In other words, during the centuries before and after Paul and the Johannine Jesus group, countless persons reported a range of visions, dreams, and appearances involving celestial entities from the sky vault. There is no reason not to take the experiences of these persons seriously, at their word, and to interpret what they have to say within the framework of their own non-Western culture, rather than our 21st century Western one. Again, contemporary cognitive neuroscience has researched and described in considerable detail the function of the brain and nervous system in human consciousness, in its many variations. The average human person changes levels of consciousness many times a day: sleep, waking time, daydreaming, road trance, and so forth. Human beings, again, are capable of experiencing more than 35 different levels of consciousness. It would be quite anachronistic and ethnocentric for us Western people to take our post-Enlightenment, post-industrial revolution, technologically obsessed society as normative for judging anyone other than ourselves. For most of the world, even today, a report of alternate states of consciousness would be considered quite normal, regular, and routine. The variety of persons witnessing appearances of Jesus raised from the dead suggests an experience of altered state of consciousness. This may be difficult for us Westerners to believe because we have been enculturated to be selectively inattentive to such states of awareness, except in dreams and under the influence of controlled substances. Moreover, both in the Synoptic Gospels and in the 4th Gospel called John, there are accounts of the appearances of the resurrected Jesus to the core group of disciples that describe the incident in a rather straightforward manner, much like previous events in the story. The disciples, gathered as a group, gradually come to recognize the resurrected Jesus and interact with him. He appears just as they knew him before the crucifixion: physical, bodily, touchable, sharing food with them. Scholars categorize such accounts as a group appearance type. By contrast, in the New Testament, there are also accounts in which the risen Jesus appears in a sudden and unexpected manner to one or two individuals who are somewhat distraught, and he addresses them so that eventually they come to recognize him. For examples, Mary Magdalene in John chapter 20, and the Emmaus disciples in Luke chapter 24. Scholars label these accounts as a singular appearance type. Such singular appearances of the gospel tradition are like those appearances to Paul in the book of Acts, or Stephen, or the astral prophet John of Patmos. In the New Testament, when such singular appearances occur, generally after Pentecost, Jesus appears from or in the sky in brilliant light, and is perceived through some altered mode of perception, including ecstatic conditions. It was the group appearance type that was recognized and required in those Jesus groups that succeeded the Jesus movement as the basis for apostolic authority, with apostolic significance, normative, legitimate, legal. Paul, of course, did not experience such a group appearance type of Jesus. His experiences of the risen Lord were rather the singular type of visions or waking dreams. The type of singular appearance in a vision later became common among Gnostics for establishing their authority in face of competing apostolic claims wielded by non-Gnostic bishops. The Gnostic Jesus group people claimed continuing revelations of Jesus through visions. And this is one of the reasons why proto-Orthodox fathers like Justin Martyr did not read or trust Paul, because Paul was recontextualized and championed by the Valentinian Gnostics and by people like Marcion of Sinope, who favored the singular appearance type. To eliminate Gnostic claims to authority based on such singular visionary experiences, yet at the same time, to include the letters attributed to Paul and the book of Revelation among traditionally valid authoritative witness to Jesus, non-Gnostic leadership set up a canon or norm of Scripture for Jesus groups. Synesius of Cyrene, a 4th century convert to Christianity, said, "At 24 years of age, it is inexcusable for a man still to need an interpreter of his own dreams." It seems that this movement to promote dreams and visions among larger numbers of people popping into existence around the 4th century in Christianity was a response to the decision to close the biblical canon. Dreams and visions give all people a potential direct link with God, holy and absolute mystery. And unlike Scripture, they do not require any but personal interpretation. The Church Father Tertullian wrote what is considered to be the first proto-Orthodox treatment on dreams. He believed that the majority of humankind came to know God through dreams. The reference he gives is to the one true God of those labeled Christians, though in Carthage, Tertullian lived among men and women who were predominantly polytheists of various traditions. Tertullian claimed that dreams came from 3 sources: from God, from the devil, or from the human soul. Much later, Jerome reported his dream of being summoned before the judge, who asked, "Who are you?" When St. Jerome replies, "I am a Christian," the judge answers, "You lie. You are a follower of Cicero, not of Christ." Then he received lashes of the whip and suffered pangs of conscience. Consider the sources Tertullian gives as to the origin of dreams: God, the devil, or the human soul. How did St. Jerome determine and decide that his dream was real and wasn't from himself or from the devil, but rather from God? Answer: Jerome could feel the pain on his shoulders long after the dream had ended. According to Tertullian, most dreams come from the devil. Dreams of the heretics and schismatics, the waking visions of those of the Gnostics and Montanists, surely come from the devil, according to Tertullian. Tertullian thought that dreams can play a double role. On the one hand, they can establish and confirm a truth. But on the other hand, dreams can overturn authority rebelliously, which some say is why they were so important to schismatics and heretics. Thirdly, following the Stoics, Tertullian says that dreams come from the soul. According to Tertullian, sleep is for the body, but not for the soul. The body rests, but the soul does not, which is why, according to Tertullian, we dream. To Tertullian, sleep is like death. In sleep, the soul gets separated from the body, according to his view, so that dreams allowed one to communicate with the dead, or those who live on in alternate reality. As such, dreams would be a perfect vehicle for divine revelation, divine self-disclosure, and frequently offered solutions to daily problems. Waking from a dream, according to Tertullian, is like resurrection from the dead. Tertullian borrowed many of his ideas from Hellenistic sources, but he insisted that Christian dream interpretation had to be different. It isn't until the 7th century, with Isidore of Seville, that scholars recognized the birth of a specifically Christian orientation to interpreting dreams. The popularity of dream analysis in the modern world often leads enthusiasts to apply post-Freudian, post-Jungian insights and interpretations to the Bible. It is well to remember that people in the Bible, like 80% of the current population of the planet, are collectivistic personalities. This means that they are not only non-introspective, but anti-introspective. Western psychology does not apply to them. Their understanding of self is the group self. The function of dreams in antiquity was that of all experience of altered states of consciousness. 1. To impart new information from God. 2. To provide a solution to a problem in life, a course of action, a decision, and so on. Even so, we clearly see how our ancestors in the faith struggled to distinguish true dreams, that is, authentic communication from God, from a lie. Later in these presentations, we will look at this more closely.